Hey observers, Christian here. It's good to see the cryptocurrency market finally getting some life into it again. Happy New Year, by the way. If you saw any of our videos toward the end of 2019, you know that we were expecting just this, for an influx of new customers into the cryptocurrency market to send prices skyrocketing. Not that they're skyrocketing yet, but I do think we're seeing the early stages of a very powerful bull market. So hopefully you've been watching Crypto Observers, you've been getting some cheap crypto, and now today let's take some time to dive in to why the cryptocurrency market is finally hitting its bull run. Alright, so let's take a look at what's causing the crypto market to come back to life and into full force as we move into what appears to be not only alt season, but an amazing bull run. I'm going to start off actually with this article from Ethereum World News, and I'm sure many of you have heard about this. It was an interesting glitch that occurred on Coinbase and sent the XRP price 4 million% higher than what it actually is. XRP was able to incur some decent upwards momentum over the past few days, which allowed it to climb from lows of 0.18 cent to highs of just under 23 cent. This momentum, however, paled in comparison with an anomalous surge seen by the cryptocurrency overnight on popular cryptocurrency trading platform Coinbase. Now, if you had been watching your Coinbase account and that price skyrocketed to $8,000, you may have seen your portfolio in the millions, depending on how much you have invested in XRP. Even if you only had one XRP, you would have well seen your portfolio at $8,341 at the least. Now, with that being said, I don't believe that anyone was actually able to cash in or trade in on this glitch simply because no one was actually buying XRP at $8,000. Apparently it was a glitched order or an order entered in error. Now let's read a bit about that. The glitch, which occurred overnight, could have been a platform bug or stemming from an individual placing a market buy order for XRP priced at $8,341. Although the root of this movement remains unclear, it did create some buzz on crypto Twitter from individuals who witnessed the massive candle surge on Coinbase Pro's 1-minute chart option. Wilson, a popular figure on Twitter, spoke about the move in a recent tweet while pointing to a chart showing the massive green candle caused by the anonymous movement. And this was one of the Twitter posts. Breaking hashtag XRP USD just hit $8,341 on Coinbase Exchange in 1-minute candlestick. A remarkable day of the future. XRP price went higher than Bitcoin for a few seconds, he said while pointing to the chart seen below. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, out of nowhere, the price shot up to a place that I don't think any of us had ever expected to see. Definitely not overnight on January 7th. So, I mean, that is not really a sign of any bullish momentum. It's just really awesome to see the potential of XRP. So let's say, 3, 4, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you could look at your portfolio and see an investment you purchased at 23 cent, hopefully less than that here with the recent decline into the 18, 19, 20 range. So hopefully you got you some cheap crypto and one day can see that XRP at a price of $8,000. I personally would be blown away to see XRP at $1, at $10, at $20, and even $100. And so to see that glitch take it to $8,341, to me it almost just reflects what's possible and what we should really be hodling onto. All right, so a little more XRP news. This is actually related to the real price, the current price, and not the glitch price. Let's jump into this with ccn.com cryptocurrency news. Ripple pumpage with heavy volume may indicate trend reversal. I mean, guys, it's really time. It's really obviously time for the cryptos to start taking their place in society and for the early investors to reap the rewards of being leaders in the industry, really the first to become aware of the opportunity and get involved. I think the first people to really benefit from their involvement, obviously, were those that had invested in Bitcoin all the way up to the bull run of 2017. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in the second wind, if you will, of cryptocurrency, and the prices are positioning themselves for long-term growth, for all-time highs, for new price discovery, and it's going to be really amazing to be a part of that opportunity. Going back to the article, just a few headlines. Ripple paints the largest volume in months. The pump is giving analysts a reason to be cautiously optimistic on XRP. Some traders expect Ripple to set the tone for other top coins. To say that Ripple XRP had a bad 2019 would be an understatement. The cryptocurrency known as the Standard lost nearly half of its value last year. The monumental devaluation left many investors disgruntled. Some have accused Ripple chief executive Brad Garlinghouse of dumping XRP to hapless retail investors. How dare you accuse Brad Garlinghouse of anything other than securing the bag? On top of that, investors also slapped Ripple Labs with multiple lawsuits. One in particular accuses the company of selling an unregistered security. XRP holders faced a lot of pain in 2019. Will 2020 be the same? Perhaps not. One avid altcoin trader believes that XRP's bullish price action on Monday may be a sign of possible trend reversal. So ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it really looks like we are coming out of the bear market and starting our way up the bull hill. Ripple prints largest volume in 3 months. Twitter user Patty Stash has gained a decent following by focusing on altcoins. On Monday, the analyst looked at Ripple and discovered a huge volume candle to match the big price action candle. Based on the chart he shared, it appears that the cryptocurrency generated the largest volume in more than 3 months. This volume candle is no joke. Could be the signal we've been looking for to reverse. Zoom out a bit and it's actually pushing through macro resistance. Looks like XRP could push before Ethereum. Maybe it'll drag it along with it too. Mind you, this is only KuCoin volume. It's important to note that the large volume can only be seen on KuCoin. Volume on other large exchanges such as Bitfinex, Binance, and Binance were not as significant. Nevertheless, Monday's surge is giving analysts reason to be bullish. It seems that Ripple has breached macro resistance of 0.21 cent. As long as it holds above that level, there's a strong possibility of a follow-through. Analysts are cautiously bullish on XRP. Many people fell in love with cryptocurrency trading because losses that took years to unfold can be erased in a matter of weeks. Ripple is among those coins that has a reputation of pumping hard after months of deteriorating in bear territory. And all of this news is really making it seem like we are coming out of that bear territory and starting something completely new, making our way to new price discovery, to all-time highs again. But moving on, I do want to real quick touch on this speculation that Iranians are buying Bitcoin at premium and simply due to anticipation of war. I don't know if this is actually happening, but real quick, just going to dive into the article. Last night, news broke that the United States military completed an overnight drone-based airstrike at the Baghdad airport. They killed one of Iran's top officials, and shortly after, Bitcoin spiked 5%. Fears the retaliation of the assassination could fuel a war between Iran and the U.S. have caused the prices of certain assets to move, including oil and crypto, suggesting that investors may be preparing for the worst in the days ahead. United States targets Iranian general in overnight airstrike, fueling concerns of war. I mean, so yeah, the article pretty much just repeats itself. There's a post from Trump in which he discusses the general that was killed and states that that general in particular had badly wounded thousands of Americans over an extended period of time and was plotting to kill many more, but got caught. He was directly and indirectly responsible for the death of millions of people, including the recent large number. I mean, all countries, I feel like all of the major leaders in the world today, as far as the countries and their governments, have been committing these atrocities and killing millions of people and leaving millions of people as refugees due to their own interest in the wars and whatnot that are carried out and the covert missions that are carried out. So this to me is no different. I hate to get on a soapbox here, but in reality, if one of our generals were bombed due to an airstrike, and they stated that the reason he was bombed is because he killed millions of Iraqis, I'm sure that everyone would be in arms and we'd have a whole nother 9/11 on our hands. So I'm just gonna, put that out there and try to get the cogs turning a bit in your minds and just question, why is it, just because we're America, why is it right for us to just take things in our own hands and act like we're the good guys of the world? It's all perspective, really. And even with that said, why weren't the American people considered in this decision? There was no vote. There was not even a warning to the American people that this was going to happen. However, we could potentially be held accountable for the consequences. So I really question things like that, and I'm kind of urging you to question those things too. I feel like that's a really important part of our society, and we need to question the actions of our government. But nevertheless, off the soapbox, moving forward, they do believe that the fear from that assassination and the fear of retaliation is going to cause Bitcoin prices to spike and other altcoins to spike, because people need a hedge against inflation, and they want to invest their money somewhere safe. And this article goes into the same thing here from CoinDesk.com. Bitcoin's recent price jump after the U.S. killing of a top Iranian general has rekindled a long-running debate among investors whether it will work as a safe haven asset like gold in times of heightened geopolitical climate and economic turmoil. The cryptocurrency changed hands around $7,500 on Monday, up about 10% since Iran's top general was killed in a lethal drone strike authorized by U.S. President Donald Trump. U.S. stocks fell in the news as investors worried the conflict between the two nations might escalate into a prolonged and damaging war. And so, again, just touching on the idea that large investors would be moving away from traditional stock and into cryptocurrency as a hedge against inflation or whatever may come due to this conflict is something that we've seen happen before. And fortunately, cryptocurrency is there and ready and willing to take on the challenge of hedging against that inflation. Now, this article does dive a bit further to say, can Bitcoin actually do it? Will Bitcoin actually do in those times? I'll just read this tidbit here. Acts of violence and war can create inflation and have demonstrated that in the past, said Greg Caparlo, co-founder of Digital Asset Research, which analyzes crypto markets. So heightened violence now could portend higher demand for Bitcoin, he said, adding a major caveat: to the extent that Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. In traditional investing, a safe haven asset is one where the price typically rises when traders are fearful of increasing risk, or in the face of convulsing stock markets. Money is pulled from riskier assets and shifted into safer, like gold or U.S. Treasuries, expected to be a more reliable store of value. One theory among Bitcoin investors is that while the cryptocurrency lacks gold's luster or long track record as a store of value, it shares the key property of being difficult to mine. Bitcoin is strictly regulated by its 11-year-old original programming code. What's more, some Bitcoin advocates note that the private data addresses or keys needed to spend the cryptocurrency would theoretically be far more portable than gold bars in a tumultuous, war-torn, or even simply hyperinflation-racked world. So the world is slowly coming around. The government officials are already beginning to understand the importance and the necessity of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin especially, as a store of value during difficult times. This article from CCN.com, cryptocurrencynews.com, real quick, it touches on the fear and greed index, and that just goes along with what we've been reading about and how those fears are playing into the cryptocurrency market. And so I believe that the fears that we have about the stock market and about the stability of our government, especially with conflicts concerning other countries and other governments, I think that fear is going to turn into greed quite rapidly, and it's going to have people investing and running to cryptocurrencies again as that safe haven and some sort of store of value. So let's just read this real quick and see what they're discussing when it comes to that fear and greed index. Is the bottom in, they're asking. Bitcoin's recovery comes on the heels of multiple bullish calls by some of crypto Twitter's most influential voices. Several notable traders have already called Bitcoin's bottom and expect the largest cryptocurrency to push higher in the first quarter. Alternative sentiment analysis indicator points to improved investor sentiment. The Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index now sits at 40, having recovered from a state of extreme fear of 20 last month. Although many traders expect Bitcoin to rally following the next halving event in May, others see an accumulation pattern forming. Some of Bitcoin's biggest accumulation phases have been fueled by smart money investors and the so-called whales snatching up BTCs at lower prices. If these constituents are buying, there's a strong reason to believe that prices have already bottomed. So, I mean, it's just saying that basically people are no longer, or at least losing some of that fear of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency investments. And some of the bigger money in the market or in the space is actually beginning to accumulate again because they are, for whatever reason, aware, or at least believe, that the bottom is out. We've hit the bottom, and now we are in a reversal, a trend upward, and headed toward a full bull run. And so finally, add to that, I want to dive into this article on Forbes.com regarding Bitcoin and Ethereum and the momentum drivers for 2020. Momentum could be building for digital currencies in 2020, driven by the prospects of sound regulation of virtual asset service providers and Bitcoin halving. That's according to Alexander Schell, Executive Director of the Crypto Valley Association, with new announcements expected from the Financial Action Task Force regarding virtual asset service providers in summer 2020 and the impending Bitcoin halving. So that's three things that they're discussing there. They're saying that, or two things actually. They're saying that the Financial Action Task Force is going to be coming up with stricter, or at least more clear regulations for virtual asset service providers, and that will allow consumers and large investors alike to actually have fair rules to play this game by and to invest and trade by. Not to mention also the Bitcoin halving is coming up. Some are saying that that's already priced in and that we won't really see Bitcoin move much due to the halving because it's already been considered. However, it is going to happen, and for the consumers that are not yet aware of Bitcoin even and still not invested, I think that will be a shock to the system when they understand how things actually work. They'll go to the market and likely begin investing in some smaller coins, perhaps something more cheap or something more affordable like XRP, Basic Attention, 0x, Protocol, Stellar Lumens. There's quite a few coins out there that I think consumers, once they do find out how this market's operating and that the scarcity is increasing, they will find any way possible to get their hands on a large number of coins. So if you are an early investor and you're already settled and you've got your bag and you're hodling, I suggest you continue to do so. We're in a great time and things are only going to continue to do better. This article really just goes in to discuss the clarity that the Financial Action Task Force is attempting to bring about. Increased clarity from the FAFT on its position relating to VASPs globally will be particularly helpful. As the industry focuses on innovation and enterprise adoption, it is imperative that regulators do not implement a policy that will create obstacles and stifle the development of the industry. So, these huge investors, these regulators, they also stand to gain a lot from cryptocurrency seeing maturity. And I don't foresee them shutting down these exchanges in America. At least I don't foresee them banning cryptocurrency. If anything, it's just going to become more regulated. We'll have clearer rules and it'll be easier to understand for the common consumer, and thus there will be more wide-scale adoption. And that's really it, folks, for this episode. We just wanted to dive into some of those drivers for the sudden burst in pricing and in value for the cryptocurrencies. It's shaping up to be a really great year. Let's continue to observe these cryptos. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. I welcome you to our community. It's really great to have you. And make sure that you check out our Facebook page as well. Try to drop a little bit of content there. We're also on LinkedIn at Crypto Observers. We just really want to build that community for you. Want you to be a part of it and share what you know about the cryptocurrency. So if anything's changing and you get wind of that, feel free to drop a comment or even message us. You can reach us at observescrypto@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to discuss things further and just really get to know you. So thanks again for tuning in. You all have a great day. Bye.